Final score, Edmonton 5, Calgary 4. Flames fans with 4 goals tonight. Calgary Flames and CP have added another $2,000 for Kidsport, and the Flames Even Strength program, bringing us to a new total of $90,500. So all kids can play. CP has hired. Calgary Flames organization would like to sincerely thank all fans in attendance tonight and every night for an incredible season as well. Budweiser wants you to remember there's more great games waiting, so please enjoy responsibly. We thank you for an amazing 2021-2022 season here in the Sea of Red. On behalf of all of us, my name is Beasley. On all the Calgary Flames, we want to say so long. Enjoy your evening. Right now, Brenda Parker, Ryan Dittrick standing by with Ram post-game show. Brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers.
Winning Motor Trend Truck of the Year 3 times in a row? That had never been done before. Then again, neither had a 12-inch touchscreen or 1,000 pound-feet of torque. Never been done before. It's just kind of our thing.
All right, welcome inside Flames Postgame Live, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. An overtime game in game number 5, and it goes the direction of the visitors. It is Connor McDavid that scores the game-winning goal, but there will be plenty of conversation centered around a third period, in particular, a moment in the third period that could have swayed this game in a different direction, and in fact, it did at one time until review would get the officials to look a little bit closer at it. Eventually a goal overturned and sends this game to overtime, in which inevitably the Edmonton Oilers win this hockey game. First, Ryan, I'll turn it over to you. Just get some general thoughts. I know we'll talk a lot. We'll show the goal that gets overturned. We'll show all the goals, but kind of a chaotic and sensational Game 5 here between these two teams. And probably the only thing I'll say before I throw it to you, it's just a shame that we don't get a couple more of it, because we waited 31 years to get this Battle of Alberta here, and it ends in 5.
Yeah, and I feel like of all the 5 games, this one was truest to the Battle of Alberta form that we were expecting to see at the outset of the series. So you said it, a little bit chaotic at points in the second period, but kind of in a controlled way. And I think it settled in a little bit into a very good hockey game. It was really well played for extended stretches over the course of the night, and, you know, gave fans everything they can ask for. And, you know, you said general thoughts. I mean, going into an elimination game, all you can ask for if you're the team on the ropes is to put your best foot forward, give it your best effort. I thought the Calgary Flames did that tonight. It was, you know, a tough result. We're down here, so you're kind of in the middle of all the emotions, but they left it all out there, and they put on a good show for their fans. Yeah,
it's obviously elation on one side of the locker room and then devastation on the other side. And we'll hear from both sides here on the postgame show as it rolls along. Obviously hear from head coach Daryl Sutter and a couple of players, and then obviously over the next couple of days. But you can sense the disappointment. I think, you know, it was, I believe it was going into Game 6. We heard from Blake Coleman. He talked about just how special he thought this group was, and how they didn't want it to end. And that this was in the first round. Obviously, they were able to pull through that. But, you know, you could tell, you could see just how, you know, much this group was pulling together here over the last, you know, close to a month now as this playoffs has worn on. And you can tell just how difficult it is to get through these playoffs. And they ran into a tough roadblock here in the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, formidable foe, no question. And not only a good team, but, you know, right now the best player in the world. And he's the one who puts the finish on the series, which I suppose is appropriate given the Terry's on. But, you know, you said it, special group. And you're sort of, it's like a gut punch, right? You sense all the emotions at once when you see that puck go into the net, and you immediately start reflecting back on what a year it was, and what a journey it was for all of us, because we've been a part of it right from the start. I think we're at or close to 100 games if you include the preseason. So it started back in September at training camp. In October, they got off to a great start and carried it all through right to now. And expectations were obviously high given how the year went. And, you know, along with Blake Coleman, I think everybody around here sensed this team had something special in them, and, you know, good on them again for putting up a good fight. You're proud of the group, that's for sure.
Yeah, well said. And I'm going to throw a little curveball at you guys here. I'm going to try and ask you to queue up let's cue up the no goal first. Before we go back and look at everything that happened, it seems like it's kind of the place to start with this game, because it's going to take a long time to go through everything that took place in the second period. 7 goals in that middle frame. But here's a look at a key moment, third period. This with under 5 minutes to play. Michael Backlund does that outside-inside move to get it through Mike Smith, and then it's Blake Coleman hard charging to the net, and it does direct it in with his left skate. The official in the corner immediately calls it a goal, and then obviously they would go to the review, and this is the situation where it would be looked at long and hard, and inevitably, and after quite some time, it was overturned.
The operative word there, Brendan, and you said it, direct. This wasn't a distinct kicking motion as is written in the rule book, so I think a lot of us were a little confused at the outcome of this one, especially since, as you said, the call on the ice was a goal. So I think the rub in all this, and we can debate the definition of it, and obviously that's going to continue for a long time, but I think the disappointing part, if you're a Flames fan, or certainly Blake Coleman and his teammates, that puck was probably going in the net anyway. So how do you overturn the goal in that situation? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, plenty of fodder for debate here over the next few days.
Well, and it's interesting because as this series has worn on, as this game has worn on, the amount of national attention, I say national, it's more international. Obviously, everyone in Canada has been focused on this. It's been kind of the, you know, marquee matchup on the Hockey Night in Canada schedule. But as you take a look at ESPN and the coverage there, and obviously all the attention that has been drawn as this series has gone on, and now tonight specifically, you just see some of the eyeballs that have been on this game, and then specifically with that call and the drama that's ensued. I mean, you just go on any social media and kind of get a glimpse of the number of opinions that are out there. Some for, some against.
That's what we were doing in the intermission, just scrolling away, and it was like 50-50. So, and you're going to expect that because obviously there are two very passionate sections of the fan base in this province. But yeah, I don't know what more can be said about that one. That's just we're going to be talking about it for a long time. There's no question.
It's absolutely. That's probably the best way to put it. And I think, and we'll hear obviously opinions on both sides of the matter as well as this post-game show rolls along, and interested to see what Daryl Sutter has to say about it. But, I think the curious part is the fact that it is called a goal on the ice, and it has to be 100% conclusive to overturn it. And I think, the big point that a lot of people are making is the fact that even though you may agree or disagree with the inevitable call, the fact that it was enough to overturn it, I think, is the stopping point of a lot of the discussion now.
Sure, and make no mistake, I think we both understand, probably everybody in the building understands, Blake Coleman knew what he was doing in that situation.
Sure.
But in his mind, right along the rule book. There's no question about that. So that's the difference.
That's the problem. And you're allowed to know what it's the directing thing. You can kind of point the toe out. That's where it becomes subjective, whether it's the kicking motion or not. And
exactly.
Alas, we'll debate for a long time, and we'll debate probably again as this show rolls along. Let's do this. Let's go back and take a look at a full night highlight package. Obviously, showed the third period there, but let's circle all the way back to the start of this hockey game. And what an evening it was, really, when you go back and look at everything that's taken place over the 60-plus minutes in this hockey game. It starts in the first period, and it's an ideal start for the Calgary Flames. They did it in each of the first 2 home games of this series. They do it again tonight with Andrew Mangiapane State.
Yeah, and we've already seen it with the no-goal call. Michael Backlund is all over this highlight pack. He was so good throughout the series, and we talk Connor McDavid about how he's taken the Oilers on his back. Michael Backlund did that for the Flames. Exceptional playoff performance over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely, and was so good all night long, and then figures into it right here again. Michael Stone with a step up, just a quick release from the sideboards, and look at the good stick, active and engaged in the front of the battle with Brett Kulak, I believe, in front, and still gets a stick on that, his 5th of the postseason. But this is where a lot of the crazy started in that second period. The first of 7 goals, this is the second, and cuts the Oiler deficit to 1. Darnell Nurse, and it just a little bit of traffic in front of Jacob Marshall couldn't see it.
Yeah, and there's the McDavid-Draisaitl line doing something that we haven't seen a ton from them over the course of the series, which was generate offense in zone. Typically, it's come off the rush. They're able to sustain a little bit more than we've seen so far.
And here's one off the rush, and that one ends up leading into the back of the net as well. And now a power play opportunity here, and it's Zach Hyman at the side of the net. So quickly, with 3 consecutive goals, the Edmonton Oilers are back out in front, 3-2. I should say back out. The late did change a couple of times in that middle frame, but Hyman puts them out in front 3-2. But it was quickly answered by the top line of the Calgary Flames. Johnny Gaudreau gets this one from around the net and throws it in.
Yeah, absolutely love that. A little bit of traffic by Matthew Tkachuk, creating some chaos in front. And, typically when a guy comes out around the net, you sort of expect him to go far side. Maybe gets a bit of a break there, but he keeps it along the ice and gets Mike Smith to open up a little bit there. Real savvy move by a guy who knows how to put the puck in the net.
So for Gaudreau, his 3rd, and it's a tie hockey game. 16 seconds later, you can hear the goal call in the background from Beasley. This puck hits an official. It hits the Zadorov point shot, hits an Oiler, and then Calle Jarnkrok scores his much-anticipated first goal as a member of the Calgary Flames. You can see a little relief there for Jarnkrok in a huge goal, 4-3 Calgary.
Yeah, and speaking of, we talked about how special this group is. Calle Jarnkrok, one of the newest additions, but getting to know him over the last little bit, tremendous guy. Great to see him. Unfortunately, the season ends, but he finishes it on a high note personally.
So his first, and yet we weren't finished through that second period because yet another answer from the Edmonton Oilers, and it provides a little bit of history in the National Hockey League Stanley Cup playoffs as well. 4 goals in that middle frame in 71 seconds. So a minute 11, Evan Bouchard ties it 4-4 after 40 minutes. And then here in overtime is the difference. And you can hear kind of a sort of pause among the crowd and just waiting and watching. And that's the difference maker there. The quick snapshot, and Connor McDavid puts it off the post.
Leon Draisaitl, a nice little pass here into the middle, and those are 2 very dangerous players. I think as I was watching it play out in real time, I'm thinking, the Flames are in decent shape here. They have 4 red sweaters around him. He's kind of backpedaling in that situation, so he's not able to, put a lot of velocity on the puck, but it's a world-class player, and it's a heck of a release.
It's interesting because Connor McDavid ends up getting just the 1 point. That's the one right there, and one of his quieter nights in terms of point production in this series. I think he had multi-point games in 10 of 11 coming into this hockey game.
Could have set a record. And I actually thought he was, just the 1 point, the goal, but I actually thought he was better tonight than he was in Game 4, even though he put up a couple. So that's kind of what star players do. They can impact a game in more ways than just on the score sheet.
And one of them did come on the empty netter, I believe, in Game 4 as well. So All right, let's do this. Let's hear from head coach Daryl Sutter. He's at the podium now. Let's listen in on what the coach thought of tonight's game and probably get some reaction on the no goal as well in the third period.
Maybe just your overall assessment of what was there tonight.
Hell of a hockey game. Sort of not finish great opportunities, goes the other way.
What did you see on the disallowed goal in the third?
I just watched it on the screen on the bench, but so I asked Wes what the call was, and he said it was a distinct kicking motion. So you guys probably had better angles than I did.
Do you agree with the call?
Pardon?
Do you agree with the call?
Well, it depends what you call a distinct kicking motion. If somebody's on the ground there and you lift your foot up, kick them in the head, that's a distinct kicking motion. If you slide your foot in the ground, it's not a distinct kicking motion. Whatever.
Daryl, you've called this a process many times this year. How do you see, where did you see this team progress to?
In this, it's just serious. You want to ask questions about the game in series.
That's what I mean, like, you talked about the process for this team. They've made it this far in the series.
Yeah. And that was the goal, is to make the playoffs. So make the playoffs. And we hadn't won a round since for a long time. So won a round and kind of ran out of ammo in this round here. Quite honest, the series was about games 2, games 4, and games 5, which is tonight. They were all tied the third period halfway through. Edmonton scored the big goal, if you look at it. Game 2, game 4, game 5, difference, right?
Did the better team win the series?
The best player won the series for him. Hey, they won in 5. You know, it's, as I said, we scored the big goal in 2 or 4 or 5, then you extend the series, then the longer it goes, the better chance you have. Simple.
We saw that there was a long moment in the handshake line with Connor McDavid. Was there anything you said to him, or keep that for yourself?
They're in a position now to do something special, and they're going to get a rest. The other series is going to go longer, so that's the next challenge for them.
How did you think your top line played tonight?
Missed opportunities. It's not being critical. It's just true. I mean, they're going to tell you that too. Missed opportunities go the other way.
How about Markstrom? What did you think his play tonight?
You know what? You guys want to criticize, I'm not doing it. You guys do it. I mean, he had a hell of a year. He's one of our captains, one of our leaders. So, the team won 55 games, and how many did he win? Most of them. So,
what do you say to the group on a night after a tough loss like that?
your chin up, your chest out, and walk out proud. Did a hell of a lot more than anybody said they'd do. Quite honest. I mean, the team that beat us was a favorite and coming into the year, and we weren't even close. So, did a good job. Sure, they're disappointed, but that's this division against those guys. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, some thoughts there from head coach Daryl Sutter, and expecting here from a couple players here as well. Anything stand out to you? I mean, obviously there was the inevitable question about the non-goal, no goal, and I guess right at the end there, just hold your head high.
Yeah, and you know, it's something he's talked about all season, really. I mean, and Connor McDavid, again, we're not going to belabor that too much. Obviously, he was a great player for them, but frankly, it was this Pacific Division. I don't think it gets enough credit for how good it was, and for the Flames, obviously, to pick up the division title speaks a lot to the season they had. But you got to remember, there were some really talented teams even outside of Edmonton that put up some good fights this year and took some big steps forward organizationally as well. So a lot of hockey went into against these teams and put up some good fights. And you knew once you get to playoff time, you've seen a lot of each other and you have a pretty good idea of what everybody's all about. But at that point too, you also maybe have an idea of what the weaknesses and the tendencies are, and that's what playoff hockey brings out of you.
Well, and he was asked, did the better team win this series? He said the best player won the series. And,
there you go.
It's hard to argue that. I mean, Connor McDavid has, I know it's cliche in a lot of ways, but taken it to another level. I mean, it was something else to watch him in person over the last 5 games, and obviously that's the way to get it done. But the other takeaway, just from an interesting perspective, is the fact that he talked about missed opportunities, and they end up getting a couple of big goals at big times. You think of Zach Hyman goal in Game 2. That's a game you led at 2-0, 3-1 in the second and third periods, and then they ended up finding one in the third, and that's the difference in that one. And it changes the whole complexion. If you can find that big goal in those moments, then it changes the whole series. Yeah,
and we talked at the outset of this series as being, what do the Calgary Flames have in terms of an edge over the Edmonton Oilers? And I think a lot of people looked at the Flames' depth as being a real strength for this team. And again, we're going to go back to a discussion that Milan Lucic had with us ahead of Game 7 against Dallas. He talked about how in those big moments, you need guys that maybe you haven't heard of before, or maybe haven't been in the spotlight as much, to step up and really have some strong performances. And, this wasn't a Game 7 type situation, but it was an elimination game. And throughout the course of the series, as you said, Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, there's another guy. They've had some key contributions, and they put up points at critical times, and ultimately outside of Connor McDavid, that's also what helps lift you to victory.
Well, and it's interesting because you just look through kind of the depth chart here tonight, and obviously going overtime, and there's a few guys on the other side that are down under 5 minutes, didn't really see much of the ice in the final 40 minutes. So and then from the Flames' perspective, most guys played throughout the night. So anyway, tough to decipher, but we're going to hear from a couple more guys. Michael Backlund and Blake Coleman, I believe, are at the podium now. So let's listen in on their thoughts here post-game and as their season comes to an end.
Michael, can you maybe just sort of sum up the emotions on a night like tonight? Obviously, this wasn't the way you guys saw this ending.
Yeah, it's tough right now. We play such a good season, so yeah, it's tough. Not the way we wanted to finish. I thought we played better last 2 games, but yeah, those were the first few games that got away from us.
Blake, what did you see, or what did you think about the call?
I don't know. I don't think I understand the rule. Getting pushed, just try to keep my foot on the ice. I don't know. I haven't watched it enough, but in live speed, I felt like I was in a battle, and just my understanding is you can direct a puck, but you just can't kick it, and I didn't feel that I kicked it, but can't go back and change it now. It is what it is. It's unfortunate that was such a big part of the game and happened to influence the way that it all went down, but like I said, I must not understand it, but aside from that, I'm proud of our team. We fought hard, and I wish that would have helped put us over to another game.
In your mind, there was no kicking motion then?
No, I mean, there's no intent to just trying to get there, and I opened my foot, but my understanding is that you can redirect the puck off your foot as long as you're not lifting it and kicking it into the net. But like I said, I'll go watch it again. Maybe it's glaringly obvious, and I just didn't feel like I did what it looks like.
How much does it maybe add to the frustration that you guys thought you were up with 6 minutes to go and that was overturned?
Yeah, that's it's hard, but I don't think we lost the series today, like I said before. I thought game 2 and 3 is where it got away from us. Even game 1, we're up 6-2. We should kill the first game right there. Don't give them the big guns any free confidence. So yeah, it would have been great if he counted to push this series. I mean, it was 5 minutes left, so who knows what's going to happen after. But be up 1 with 5 minutes left, it's a lot different. And hopefully we could have pushed, or we could have probably pushed it to another game, but we can't do anything about it now.
Michael, what did the Flames need more of in this series to win it?
Well, I think early on we didn't do a good enough job and stay on top of them off the rush. So just like Dallas series, it was a lot of emotions first couple games, a lot of penalties on both sides, but we knew going in we can't let them be having power plays or 4-on-4 because they're one of the best teams in the league. They're have a power play or play 4-on-4. So I think that, and like I said, we didn't take away enough speed early on. And yeah, like I said earlier, we should have just, I think game one, we could have set the tone right away.
Talked earlier, I think, about, you know, the difficulty in containing a player like McDavid. And this was a game that you had held him off the score sheet until the overtime goal. I guess, can you speak to, again, the difficulty of stopping a guy like that and not letting him have the impact that he had?
Yeah, no, he's a great player. I mean, yeah, right now he's the best player in the league. He's been the top scorer for, I don't know, 2-3 years, I guess, probably now in a row. He can make anything out of nothing, and yeah, he's very hard to play against. And if I go back to it again, I think if game one we don't give him that confidence, I think it could have been a different series.
For you, what should be the takeaways for the entire group from this series?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to think about it all right now. Obviously, still pretty fresh, but you know, it's disappointing because we had a really, really good season. We have a really great team. You know, I think we all believed that we had a deep run in us, and you know, obviously you can't put it all on us. You got to give Edmonton credit. I thought they played really well. I thought their big guys played some big series. They had some depth. You know, they made plays in key moments of games, and we didn't. And you look at a lot of the games; they're tight in the third, and we just couldn't come up with that big play to put us over the hump in the last couple of games. So, you know, it's such a small margin of error this time of year, and that's part of the learning curve and the growth is learning how to win tight games and being a really difficult team in important situations.
Michael, what did you think of the call?
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of it. Yeah, I don't know the rule. I guess. Yeah, the one replay I saw, it looked like he's trying to stop him, and he's getting pushed in the net and goes off his foot. But yeah.
Knowing that this is still fresh, maybe for Michael, how do you balance the knowledge that you guys made it farther than you have in a while with the disappointment of this ending earlier than you guys thought it would?
Yeah, right now it's just all disappointment, frustration, upset. Like Colsey said, we had a great team, a great group of guys. Proud of all the guys. I'll go to war with all the guys again. Just didn't finish the way we wanted.
What do you say to Jacob Markstrom with a strong Game 5 today? He was really strong in the series too.
Yeah, yeah, it's not on him. It's a tight game. They have some really good players on that team, and they, you know, it's all of us on the ice who got to stop them.
Thanks very much, guys. A little bit for us tonight. Thank you.
All right, there you have some thoughts from Blake Coleman and Michael Backlund, and thought the description Blake Coleman gave about his perspective in the moment and at real time was pretty accurate, Ryan.
Absolutely, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about off the top. You know, he's aware of the fact that the rule states you can direct it into the net as long as there's no distinct kicking motion, which, as far as we know, involves kind of that pendulum motion, right? And that wasn't on this play, so I think a lot of us were confused. You saw it, Blake Coleman, very confused and probably rightfully upset with the call, and you know, it ends up costing your team a season. So how can you not feel the gut punch of those emotions right now?
Yeah, without a doubt, and you can watch it several times and over again. But again, from the guy that was in the middle of it, in the thick of it, with his skate on the ice, I think you could sense kind of the frustration there for Blake Coleman, and understandably so. An opportunity that they thought would have given them a 5-4 lead at that particular moment in the third period goes the opposite way. So unfortunate on many respects, and again, something that I know we will hear a lot about both locally and nationally over the next couple of days. I guess the biggest takeaway for me, and again, we can debate it all we want, it's just unfortunate that plays a role in the final decision of a hockey game.
Without a doubt.
That's kind of the biggest frustration about all of it. I mean, have the Calgary Flames come back and you score that big goal in overtime, then it changes the conversation a little
Absolutely, and I know this is of little consolation to everybody watching right now, but they didn't let that bother them. That could easily deflate you in that situation and know that you have no hope if in a situation like that. But they had a very strong finish to the third period. They outshot the Oilers 6-2 in overtime. So they came out and they gave it everything they had. Like we said, that's the poise and the character of this group that we learned all season.
Yeah, well said. All right, let's just briefly listen into the other side before we close out the postgame show. Head coach Jay Woodcroft is standing by in the Oilers locker room.
You guys ready?
Yeah. Well, Jay, obviously you've talked all the time about, one game at a time. Well, you got it. Can you just another roller coaster game, up and down, crazy sequence of goals, and one of your best players comes up with a huge goal. What were you saying during the third period and overtime to your team?
Jason, I'll get to your question in just a second. Before I begin, I just want to pass along some well wishes to a friend of mine, the assistant general manager of the Calgary Flames, Chris Snow, who's going through something right now. And on behalf of myself, our coaching staff, our players in our organization, and for that matter, the city of Edmonton, Chris, everybody up north is with you in your fight right now. I want to congratulate the Calgary Flames on a good season. They pushed us very hard in this series. We want to congratulate the leadership of that team, Brad Treliving, Craig Conroy, Brad Pascal, obviously Daryl Sutter and Kirk Muller, and their player leadership, guys like Chris Tanev and Erica Branson and Elias Lindholm and Michael Backlund. They were just excellent in this series, and they gave us everything that we can handle. Now, to get back to your question, for me, I thought we didn't start the game the way we wanted to start. We fought our way back from 2-0 down. The second period was a little bit of a crazy period, but there were a lot of good things in that period for us as well. In between the second and third, we just talked about the good things that we did and how we had to clean up a few things defensively. I thought we had our best period in that third period. There were some, things that we could clean up heading into overtime. We talked about that. But I think with our group, there's a measure of calm, measure of composure, and a strong belief that we have the people in the room that can get us through any type of circumstance. So we felt good about our chances.
Leon Draisaitl, 17 points in 5 games. I think 3 different NHL records in this series. And I know he's healthy and available, but I don't know if he's 100% healthy. Can you just talk about him in the whole series, and again tonight, 4 points?
Yeah, I mean, with what Connor's done, kind of Leon's performance has gone under the radar a little bit. But for what he's doing, I think he has the ability to hold people off and make plays in tight spaces. And I think, I think he's the best passer in the National Hockey League, best passer in the world. And the amount of plays that he makes for our team is unbelievable. To do that with what he's going through, he's an absolute warrior. But I've said this before, when I walked into that room at the beginning of February, I was bullish on our players because I saw a sincere desire to win, and not just the desire to win, but I saw people willing to pay the price to win.
So when you game plan...
We call it the Ram 1500 Limited. But truth be told, there's nothing limited about it. Ram 1500, winner. J.D. Power Award for Best Driver Appeal.
All right, welcome back inside Flames Postgame Live. It is the final Postgame Live, unfortunately, of the season. 5-4, the final. The Edmonton Oilers win in overtime tonight in game number 5 of this second round series in the Battle of Alberta that we waited 31 years to get. Ends in 5 games tonight, unfortunately, as mentioned. But, man, I know it only went 5, and we would have all loved to see 6 and maybe 7, or at least on the Flames side of things here. heck of a series. It had some ups and downs. It had some twists. It had 2 7-goal periods, Game 1 and Game 5, to bookend it. What did you make of this Battle of Alberta 30 years in the making?
It was fun. And it was fun both here because we got to experience it here at the Scotiabank Saddledome, but we also just came back from Edmonton, so we saw it from the opposite side too. And both fan bases right dialed into this one from the get-go. It was a lot of fun to be on, in both atmospheres and be a part of it. So lived up to the billing, like you said. If only we could have extended it a little bit further. But, situation like this, we talked about it off the top. I'm just racking through my brain right now, thinking of all the cool moments we got to experience this season, not only in the Arena Bowl, but right here on this set. We had some pretty remarkable moments and times worth celebrating, so it was a lot of fun to be doing it with you. Really appreciate that. Love you, man.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun this year. 55-win season. Obviously, some tremendously memorable moments. Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk 100-point seasons, and it's unfortunate to see it come to an end. And quite frankly, didn't think it was going to be tonight. No. So at a loss for words in terms of wrapping things up here on the postgame show. Hadn't considered that option to this point, but that's where we're at. So that's where we'll finish. And thanks to you, the viewers, for tuning in on whatever platform you have over the course of this regular season and postseason run. It's been a heck of a run through the preseason and now the postseason. It's been well over 100 games total, or around 100 games total, and here we are now signing off for the final time on this Flames post-game live, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. The Calgary Flames get into the second round for the first time since 2015, but the run ends here in 5 to their Alberta rivals, the Edmonton Oilers. Thanks so much for watching all of our Flames TV live programs, and for all of us here, we'll see you next season.